1, 2. Simkin. Who hates Simkin? She hates Simkin. He hates Simkin. I hate Simkin. You hate Simkin. She hates Simkin. We hate Simkin. Who hates Simkin? I hate Simkin. They
Welcome
hate
to
Simkin.
another episode of I Hate Simkin. Never has a
title. Like, it's so, for me personally,
Yes.
like I get the title name, but for me personally, you've been nothing but like so good and kind to me.
Oh, well, that's happy to
Do you know what I mean? Over the years, it's been, you know, I've been nothing but great things to say about you.
That's very kind to you. It is partly a joke in the sense that I think I'm different than a lot of people in the music business. I think I'm a little more straightforward, and I think it's because I don't come from the music business. I fell into it by accident. I mean, I think you know that. I was a criminal lawyer. I didn't take copyright in law school.
Right.
This was not part of the plan. And so I've never put up with the weird music industry, like even little things that piss me off. Like, why does nobody at record companies ever return emails?
Uh-huh.
And it's like, I return now maybe it's partly my OCD, or maybe it's partly just my nature, but like,
Or maybe it's just good business.
or common courtesy. Like,
That also.
some band emails me, "Dear Mr. Simkin, I'm going to respond whether I like the music or not, because I know it's their dream. It's their everything. And to even have somebody respond means a lot. And I don't know, it's important. I have to introduce you.
It is important, yeah.
My guest today, one thing that's been interesting about this podcast is anytime I say something like I'm about to say, you kind of go, oh my God, I'm old. How did it happen? Somebody I've known for, I calculated, I think it's about 30 years.
I'd say it's about that. Yeah.
Which, I mean,
It's close to it.
a 30-year-old adult is an adult. I mean, that's a long time.
It's crazy, right?
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And it's Todd Hancock. I mentioned to somebody, I'll tell you who after, that I was having you on the podcast, and they said, call him Todd Foot Penis.
Foot penis. There's a few
Hand,
people that
cock,
yes.
foot, penis.
Yes.
Not the best joke I've ever heard.
No. I mean, that's like low hanging fruit.
It's low hanging fruit. Any idea who told me to say that?
I should know this because I've had several people call me foot penis.
I'll give you a hint. In the Nickelback,
I mean, it might be Chad.
it was Bradley Kind.
Oh, it's Bradley. Yes,
Brad
of
said,
course.
yeah, me and I think he said Joey. Me and
Oh,
Joey
okay.
used to call him.
Yeah. There's been a few more than those two, but yeah, there's been some foot penis over the years.
Listen, anybody who's got cock in their last name, you must have had an interesting elementary and high school.
Oh yeah, it was fight night in Canada in elementary school when you everything about it just pisses you
Hey,
off.
Todd,
right?
I heard you put your hand on your cock.
Right. And they're like, okay, bike racks, 12:30, let's go. But as you get older, the thing as an adult with a name like that, I find that, and it's not all the time, but some people will be like, dude, I didn't get your email. Speaking of emails, I didn't get your email. I'm like, oh, check your spam. Cock in my last name will put it in the spam. And sure as it's sitting in
that's
in
good.
the spam email. Yeah.
I know that if I went to elementary school with you, I would have been tormenting you.
Of course.
Just
Yeah.
my nature. But let's go back 30 years. So my first memory of you is when you were on air at CFOX.
Yeah, for sure. That would be late 90s. But I was there, for when I went through BCIT and did the radio course. I went to CFOX and was kind of just operating the board for shows that would be on location somewhere too, right? So that's actually kind of, I think that may have, it's probably when I was on air would make more sense. But
So when did you start at CFOX?
CFOX was like 96,
So
97.
yeah,
and then
okay.
By 99, I was on air for them. But at the very beginning, I was just producing shows and just kind of being part of, the station.
So you, Rob Robson.
That's right. Yeah. Bob Mills.
Oh God, Bob Mills. Was Danger there at that
No.
point?
Danger was over at XFM.
That he did with Dunner
Dunner was over there in the promotions department.
in the Rogers building. That's still
That's right.
the Rogers building at like 8th and Heather or
Ash
whatever.
or whatever it is. Yeah. And I hear that's they've got to leave I don't know if this is true or not,
That
but I've
building?
heard that building, they're done at the end of this year, or like they got one more year and like they're done. Yeah.
Well, terrestrial radio, just generally speaking, how many, every week I look and it's like Chorus fires another 12, it's like
It's crazy.
Bell
right?
sells off 30 stations. It's interesting. I mean, we see it, I'm in the record business, and obviously that impacts us as well. I mean, radio is still important in my business, but not like it was when I first met you, because when I first met you, that was it.
It was no internet.
And if you weren't on the radio, the chances are your band wasn't happening.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. The change of the last 25 years is astronomical. I still believe, like you, that radio is still important. I think that they need to move, though. They need to bob and weave and change what they do, but it's still important. It could be, I think it could still be just as important as it was 20 years ago to an artist today that doesn't necessarily get a ton of play, but suddenly they are.
The way I
and
look
then
at
other
it,
stations in Canada are like, why is CFOX playing these 3 bands? Never heard of them. Go and listen, you're like, holy shit, they're actually pretty good.
100%.
And then CJ92, Power 97, Edge 102, right? Then they all start playing, and then suddenly you can pack rooms in Windsor. You know what I mean?
When I first started around the same time, you needed radio to get from A to B. It just did. And that was always the first goal. Video, single, you made, like, think about it. You would make an entire album. People weren't putting out singles. You were putting out albums.
That was not the thought.
No.
Like, put the record out.
Yes.
Put the liner notes in. Tell us where it was recorded. Give me the lyrics.
All about the album.
Yeah.
That was it. You'd make an entire album. You'd pick a single. You'd spend a lot of money on making a video. You'd throw it out into the world. You'd cross your fingers. Did it work? Oh, it didn't work. Next. I mean, it's kind of how it went.
Truly,
but radio was so important to everybody. And
Huge.
so, but the thing about CFOX at that time was, you know, the fact that they really supported local music.
Right. With
Not just giving lip service to it, actually making at least local stars out of bands. And like, I remember going up there so much, and it was always so nerve wracking. Like, it was so new to me. And, you know, he'd go up there and be like, holy like, I just met, you know, Todd Hancock, who I listened to in my car. I mean, holy like,
right.
Or Karen K,
Yeah.
all those people. But certainly in my career, it was Seeds. It was the Seeds contest on CFOX that changed a lot of careers of artists I worked with.
Yeah. What a shame when they stopped doing that program. Like, when I initially launched the Toddcast after getting let go in the summer of 2014, so many of my industry friends, venues and managers and bands and everything were like, CFOX doesn't do it. Why don't you do Seeds? And I'm like, do you realize how much work that would be for one person to coordinate, host, social media? You know what I mean? Like, all of that stuff. Like, I'm not a radio station. I'm a one person. Like, I know how to do it if I had 4 people to help me, but I was close to not, of course I couldn't call it. No, I've got a lawyer right here. Could I have called it Todd Seeds? You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't going to call it that, but I was real close to trying it and thinking like, well, maybe I could get Jonathan Simkin from 604. Maybe I could get Mike Fraser, AC/DC producer, his good buddy, to come in and be a judge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, I'm just walking it through, but right off the launch was just so overwhelming, right?
Well, plus it was about the radio play. So how would you accomplish that? You would also have to own a radio station.
Well, right. That starts me going even further down the line, and you'll love this, because then I start thinking, well, maybe I get Warner Music involved. Maybe I get Sony Music involved, and they actually will take them out on the road with Big Rec. Or do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I started to think, could it go that far? And it still could. Like, it's a viable option even today. But
so sort of the prize is you get on a tour with them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe you do get some radio play.
Yeah.
Maybe, I'll get a play on my podcast.
Yep.
And, maybe it's a podcast network you get on or whatever it is. But like, I legitimately thought of doing that when I first launched, but it's just because of the overwhelming sheer amount of work and like unsure, like I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
When the Peak came on the scene and they had the Peak Performance Contest,
Yeah.
that was part of their licensing application.
Yes.
Was that the same thing with Seeds? Because CFOX had been around for so
I don't
long.
think that was part of the.
It was just an idea somebody had for marketing.
Yeah, they were like, holy man, Headpins are really cool. Like, there's a lot of really good bands. You should probably play the hell out of them.
Well, the ones I thought of when I was thinking about this, that absolutely impacted their lives huge. Nickelback, obviously.
Of course. Yeah.
Did they win? I can't remember if
They
were,
did, yeah.
And that would have been Fly.
Like Fly.
Mama, tell my fool.
That's right. Yeah.
Default.
Default, yes.
And I don't remember if they won, but I certainly
They did.
remember. Oh, they did win. Okay.
They did, yeah.
And of course, Chad produced it. So,
Right.
Yeah. Damn the Diva. But it's pretty amazing that a local station can actually
affect and change.
Jumpstart a band's career.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, could it be like that today? Yeah. The answer is yes. It still is yes. There's still people listening to radio.
Well, Nickelback, I mean, what I remember about that experience was, Fly was a hit here in Vancouver because Rob Robson and you and whoever there was supporting played the shit out of it. And it kind of almost like spread, like it kind of, it's what you were saying earlier before we turned the mics on about, station over in Alberta goes, oh, CFOX is playing the shit out of this Nickelback track. I wonder what that's about.
Right.
And next thing you know, we're getting test spins in Calgary or somewhere like that.
Sure. And that's how it happens.
It's like a brush fire, just,
yeah. But I also think that this is a story that I'm certainly not breaking new ground here, but like we also have to think about what Chad Kroeger was doing at the time, calling the radio stations.
True.
Hey man, you're going to give us a spin. We were getting played at CJ. We got it at the Bear in Edmonton.
He had a fake
blah, blah,
name.
blah.
I can't remember
Whatever it was, right?
This is Brian Smith from
right.
Vancouver Indie Promo.
Which is like, genius. It's no surprise knowing Chad that he did that, right?
Yes.
But like that was pretty, you can't teach people that. You can't teach people drive an initiative like that. You can't teach.
That's why I get pissed off. Like, and I've said this in other podcasts and I've said this on Twitter and I've said it anywhere I can say it, but like, that's what pisses me off. Like if people don't like Nickelback's music, whatever, that's the nature of art. Some people like chocolate, some people like vanilla. I couldn't give a and there's no right or wrong about any of it. It's the personal attacks that were always so hard to understand, especially when, as you know, they're the greatest, nicest,
Good
most
dudes.
Hardworking. And for all the people like corporate sellout, Chad was working the radio station himself. Ryan Peake was the booking agent because they didn't have a booking agent. Mike was in charge of distribution, which meant he would fly out to Ontario, when we started to get radio play out there with a box of CDs.
Stock and Sam, the record man. And
hey, here's the chart. Can you think you could take a few Nickelback CDs? I mean, it's the most do-it-yourself band ever. So that whole like corporate sellout thing off, like that's just ignorance because you don't know what really happened and how we got from A to B with that band.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no, it's pretty wild. Okay, and so you said something earlier, which I have to admit, either I forgot or I must have forgot. You were let go at CFOX?
Yeah,
I don't know. For some reason, I thought you decided at some point.
No, I got fired. Yeah, no, I got shown the door in like June or July of 2014. And
okay, not to dredge up unpleasant memories, but like
it's not at all.
Is there a story there or just?
Well, I mean, the short answer is I just made too much money. They were like, dude, like you're making, because I did their morning show for a while as well. And so once I got to that level of money, when I went to do the afternoon show, they couldn't really hack too much off. So I was kind of making morning show money doing afternoons for 10 years.
Morning show money is bigger money.
Big money.
Because that's when the real ratings thing and
it's the
sponsors.
But more than anything, it's just that they gear everything toward the morning show, right? So it's the Jeff O'Neill weenie roast. It's the golf tournament. It's all this.
And I'm never up before noon, so it's like I never know.
Morning radio is
I'm aware of it,
the midday person. Like,
yeah. Okay, well that's interesting.
But I got let go in the summer of 14 and just was basically told like, you make too much money. The official thing I don't even know if I should say this, but the official thing on the termination was the elimination of my position. They took the afternoon show from 3 to 7 and moved it to 2 to 6.
Sorry, it's a completely different job now.
Totally, right? So
we're very concerned about what you'd be like at 2 p.m.
You dirty rat. But, people, even right out of and honestly, Jonathan, even right away, of course, the first day I was stunned. Yeah, like I'd been there for 15 years.
Jeez.
And ratings the whole time. And, you know me, I'm a very easygoing guy to hang around with and open door policy, went to meetings I didn't have to go to and hosted, world album premieres and et cetera, et cetera.
And you probably, was your wife pregnant? I mean, that must have been like.
The kids were little, like 1 and 3.
I mean, still, that's got to be like, oh my God.
It was something else. Yeah. I just got back from a trip to Florida that cost like 12 grand or something.
Jeez.
But, you know, back in my radio days, it was like, whatever, I'll just say for a couple of months.
Is it too late to sue?
What's that?
Too late to sue?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it?
I'm the lawyer, but I'm not that kind of lawyer. I'll find out.
I'm not sure. But I just got back from Florida and I'd spent all this money. And then, like 2 months later, I got the boot.
Dude.
But then I had all the severance, right? Because I did sign in fact, you were the one that probably had a look at it.
Yeah, probably did.
My contract for Fox, because Jonathan was also, when I had that band management company with Dave Brenner from
That's right.
Theory of a Deadman. Jonathan was the lawyer for the company. Anyway,
I think my wife did some stuff too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Some of the corporate, because she tends to do more of the sort of hardcore corporate stuff.
That's right. Yeah,
she does that for Nickelback too.
We had you sick somebody that was trying to one of the bands that we were working with on the tour routing, and like they weren't totally prepared and they didn't have the right guarantees and stuff, and then they were trying to like get the band to pay him money to do marketing. We're like, no, hold, this is. Don't
Simkin.
This is not happening. Not on our watch.
Yeah,
I was like, Jonathan, can you sick him? You're like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like, I'll tell him to take a hike, man. And that's basically what I
did. Yeah, it's funny.
Buddy was like, all like, bad mouthing me, and I was like, dude, that's totally fine. Bad mouth me all you want, but I'm not going to let the bands that I'm helping get. Like, that's not happening.
Well, it's funny because I used to be a bit of, I guess you'd say, a mercenary type lawyer, where it's like, you want to get out of a record deal? Call Simkin. I have 3 clients as a lawyer now, and that's it. Like, I basically gave up my practice 15 years ago. I just wasn't enjoying it. It just wasn't, I wasn't happy. It's just like, I was tired of being a rent-a.
Yeah.
It's like, and then I had a kid. Having kids changes that too. It just changes your outlook on life. If it doesn't, there's something wrong with you.
Totally right.
I had you might know this, a very sick kid who almost died.
Yeah.
And when he was born, and, again, that just, it changed me. I still get mad. I still can be in but it's no longer my default setting. Like,
right. Yeah, that's well said.
For 20 years.
That's well said.
I was like, how can I why would I get freaked out about this? It's so unimportant in the big picture of everything.
Sure.
Changes you,
Yeah. Interesting that you say that. I almost adopted that sense of thinking and just the way that I live my life, probably in like grade 3, 4, 5, like young kid. And I always thought like, will this affect me, or will I care about this tomorrow? Will I care about it in a week or a month from now? And if the answer was no for any of them, then move on.
Yeah.
Water off the duck's back. Like, don't let people and their negative energy pull you down. That's kind of, I've lived that lifestyle for, since elementary.
Where did you grow up? I'm not sure I know that.
I grew up in Surrey till grade 3. Halfway through grade 3, moved to Kitimat. Lived there till halfway through grade 5. Halfway through grade 5, moved to Terrace. To halfway through grade 9. Then to Summerland. Did the rest of 9 and 10 in Summerland.
Was this because of one of your parents
moving and stuff, jobs and stuff? And then for grade 11, I asked my mom, I was like, I just miss all of my friends at Terrace. Can I go up to Terrace and live there and do school there for grade 11? And she was like, we'll see. Like, I'll try to get, one of my friends to take you in or whatever. And one of them said yes. I that up, of course, when they went out. They went away for a weekend, and I had to rager in an apartment complex, right? I'd say 80 people conservatively in a place that holds like 20 would pack it, right? But 80, 100 spilling out, and it's super loud.
Cops?
Yeah, of course. Cops, and like just so drunk, right? Wake up the next day, this place is spotless. I'm like, there's no chance my friends did this. Like, no way. And then, 5 o'clock that afternoon, they show up. You're fucking gone. You literally cost us. We have no more strikes in this building. You're gone, bro. You're so lucky you got an older brother. This guy's right in my face. And I'm like, oh, he's not here. Let's go, right? Chirpy little 16.
So what happens? And then you have to.
So then I go to a buddy. So I go to a buddy's place, and I'm kicking the ground. I'm all pissed off, right? I gotta probably move back to Summerland. I just got booted out, right? And his mom hears, and she's like, well, we got a place downstairs. Like, you'd have to like pay rent and like, do chores, and like you'd be part of the family or whatever. And let me call your mom. So he calls my mom, and her name was Sandra. My mom's Val. Hey, Sandra, and I was just here with Todd, and look, we just got kicked out of Michelle's. And my mom's like, I know, right? All right, I could hear her just barking on the phone, right? And then Sandra's like, well, we'll take a bid, like pay whatever you're paying there. And so that's what I did.
And that's what happened.
And then I f***ed up so bad in my grades in grade 11 that I went back to Summerland for 12. Was there until I went to BCIT radio.
Wow. Okay.
So all over BC, really, yeah. And then, of course, with my job in radio, all over because of that. Smithers, my first job. I went to Prince George for 3.5 years, to the Fox for a couple years, and then I went to Victoria for a 1 year to do mornings at a place called Extreme 107. Dude, that was crazy.
They're not around anymore.
No, they're not around anymore, but that was crazy. That
What
was
company?
a great radio
Was that
station.
Chorus too?
That was like Seacoast Communications.
Oh, wow.
Which was like, it was the same company that owned, what was it in Kelowna? I want to say it was the Lizard before the Lizard and all that got bought out. Lizard's a great station too, but yeah, the station I worked for in Victoria was just at the time was just so much better than CFOX.
Oh,
like I was like, what? Yeah, man, I'll come over in a heartbeat. But also, this could be like so many long ass stories. But like, so the morning person that I worked with in Victoria was my ex-fiancé.
Oh, geez.
Who I asked her to marry me in Prince George. And then she moved away to do the job in Victoria. Meanwhile, I'm trying to like get to Victoria or Vancouver or whatever, but years had passed and I'm like, let's just break it off. And she's like, yeah, that checks out. Like this sucks. Right.
Yeah.
And then it'd been 3 years or something since I even really talked to her. And then I get a call and they're like, hey, do you want to come do a morning show with Tiffany Houle? I was like, what the And I asked all my, all of my mentors, what do you think of this idea? Blah, blah, blah. As I'd done all my jobs through radio. And they were like, dude, if it wasn't for the fact that she's your ex-fiance, like, oh, that's messy territory. Like we'd be kicking you out the door to get to that station otherwise. But yeah, so I went and did that for a year and it was interesting.
Tiffany's the ex.
Tiffany's the ex. Yeah. So
where's she now?
She's, I think she's up in, I don't know if she's doing radio anymore, but I think she's up in, last I heard was in Smithers, but that's also 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was really, really good on air, man. Super natural and gifted and just funny. And like,
yeah, I feel like I know that name. Like it
was just punchy. And like, she just was really, really good on air. Like a Karen K, like just natural, right?
Is Karen still at CFOX?
Karen's still at Fox. Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, it's crazy, right? O'Neill's been there since 95, bro. 30 years, man, on air.
And he's still morning?
He's mornings now, yeah.
Well, let's talk about the podcast a little. I told you this when I ran into you a few weeks ago, that I have to say, I have to give you some credit here, that I remember when you announced the podcast, because I was one of your first guests, I think. I remember being on it. Yeah, I remember being up at Whistler for some reason.
Certainly were in the first probably 4 months. Anyway.
Yeah.
Like basically everybody that I was like, man, I got to talk to these guys.
Yeah.
Like good friends or they're just influential people in the industry. I made sure I attacked all my big.
But I remember at the time kind of not really knowing what to make of it. Podcast, because podcasts didn't occupy the place they currently occupy in culture, and it was more unusual.
Podcast now, and people are like, "Oh yeah," but back then in 2014, when I was brainstorming, Vancouver had no podcasts,
and I'm going to give you credit for that.
Like
I think
none.
You were doing that before just about anybody I knew. You were certainly the first person I knew who was doing a podcast. And I remember at first when I saw you, like you put out some announcement or something, I was like, and I was like, podcast? What the like I didn't understand it. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Hey, believe me, like months before that, when people were talking to me about starting a podcast, do you know Paul Meehan?
Why do I know that name?
From the advertising company Meehan Lewis. They were huge.
Maybe.
Like,
I feel like
they were doing like marketing for like the Maple Leafs and like big brands like the Nude and Neutral and all that. Well, maybe not Nude, but Neutral. And anyways, Paul was one of the first people to tell me like, do you really need to go back to radio? Like do a podcast. Well, how am I going to make money doing that? Well, think about the businesses that that own the owner or, GM or somebody that pulls the purse strings. Ask them to sponsor you. Take away the middleman, radio. You now just deal with Coca-Cola, like easy peasy. I'm like, well, it can't be that easy. He's like, go home, think about the 10 companies that that you might be able to, like Red Truck and like, the Roxy and all these companies that I'd worked with for over a decade, 15 years at Fox, right?
Yeah.
So I reached out to all of them. They're like, sounds amazing. Like, what's it going to sound like? I don't know. And suddenly it was off and running before I'd even started to even think of what it would look or sound like.
So you're in what year of it now?
11.
Wow.
That's crazy, right?
Wow.
Dude, I honestly thought I'd get like maybe 6 months, 8 months in, and then I'd have to go to Lethbridge. Hey, your new morning guy at B101. You know, like literally I thought that. But then because of the first, like right off the hop, and I'm going to say this, and I probably shouldn't be candid with the
please.
With the dollars, but right off the hop, I had the Hard Rock Casino was the title sponsor. So Talkcast brought to you by Hard Rock Vancouver, right? They gave me $27,000 rate at like January 1st.
So that had to make you feel like, okay, I'm
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause they were like, we understand there's going to be operational costs and, you know, marketing, blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. And it did. It truly helped me. Right. But because of that, and then slowly picking and getting the Roxy on, getting the Lamplighter on, Milano Coffee, right? Red Truck and all these different places, which still majority of them that I just mentioned are still on.
Yeah.
How many years later? Because they get it. They understand, right? They're like, well, we're looking for quantifiable. Like, what did you sell a bunch of beans? They don't care about that. Milano Coffee cares that they're involved in a podcast that is respected and listened to.
Yeah, and their name gets
out there, and I throw around some stuff every once in a while.
Yep.
Like, some posts specific to
do you get coffee out of them too?
Of course. Of course, buddy.
I would just do it for the coffee.
I know, right? That's pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so once everything kind of started rolling, it was like, okay, well, maybe Paul is right. Maybe I don't need to go back to radio and I don't need to be Lethbridge B101's morning guy. Year 2, Jonathan, rough. Because I lost the Hard Rock after the first 4 months. They were like, it's cool, but like, we're going to allocate money elsewhere, which is what normally people do with businesses. They don't always go like, we're going to go 24/7, 365 with you. Like, don't worry. Like, I'm lucky.
No, and what are you going to say? Like, you? No, right. It's like, thank you for the support.
Thank you. Totally. So now I'm like, okay, you know, now I've got to get other sponsors and I still got to pay a Vancouver mortgage. And my wife wasn't working at the time, right? Stay at home mom. And so it was, the first year was pretty gravy. Like I made more money in the first year of podcasting than I ever did in radio.
Yeah. Interesting.
In a year. And funny, I got fired from radio because I made too much money. Right. So go figure.
Yeah.
So because of that first year, I was able to kind of glide through the second year, even though I didn't make as much money. By the third and fourth, I was like laughing.
Do you record them all at home? Like you have a home studio?
Yep. Yeah. Got a home studio and I talked to the old engineer at CFOX. He came and installed all the noise dampeners. And like I've got, when I got let go of Bro Jake, Rock 101's morning guy, he called me and he was like, dude, have you ever been fired? I'm like, no. He's like, well, welcome to radio, buddy. And I'm like, well, tell you what, man, I'm going to be making a home studio. And I heard you just sold your place in Tawasin. Would you give me or sell me your gear for, give it to me on the cheap, right? Like I'm struggling here, bro. Right. And he's like, straight up. Yep. Talk to Jerry. And Jerry's the engineer. And he's like, you know Jerry, right? I'm, of course I do. So he's like, I'll talk to Jerry and we'll work it out, whatever. And he gave it to me like a couple grand at the most. And the equipment, Jerry and I looked online and we're like all pricing it out. It was all old. Like basically my equipment at my house is a carbon footprint of Rock 101. Yeah. The same gear.
Yeah.
So
it was like, you needed.
It was like 12 grand or something. But he was like, I'll do $2,000. And I was like, what the hell? And the next day I just drop off a big bottle of, Johnny Walker Black on his doorstep. So like, thanks, buddy. Yeah, so good, man.
You and Brenner, you mentioned this earlier, but you and Dave Brenner,
he's good.
Had a company and I assume you're still friends?
Oh yeah. Still great buddies. Yeah.
He lives in Nashville?
He's just outside of that, I think, but yeah.
Has kids.
He's got kids and all that. Yeah. And a wife, of course.
A lawyer, I heard.
Yeah. Is it a lawyer? No.
I thought so.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. It may be right. I want to say I thought it was.
I haven't talked to those guys in a long time.
Is that right?
There's no bad feelings at all. I mean, it was a bit rough the way it ended because the contract came to a natural end.
Yeah.
And listen, we own 5 of their out. I mean, listen, first band we ever signed,
and some of the biggest stuff done, right? Yeah.
And I don't say this as to take a shot, but like certainly the biggest stuff of their career was 604 stuff. I mean, because we got RX, like that was the last album that we got from them. And it's still their biggest hit.
Huge in the States.
Huge. You know, so there was this phone call where they called me with their manager to say, you know, because I made an offer to keep them in Canada and they decided to just do a big worldwide deal. You know, it was disappointing. But how can I begrudge?
No, like we were talking before
about Dallas, who I've said, he was on my podcast recently, and I think I said the same thing, but it's like, you know what? Like, Theory has made a lot of money with us. I mean, it's not like it was like a typical record company thing where it's like, hey, how come we've never seen a dime? Well, they've seen a lot of money through us. And I'm glad. That means it's worked. And we've sold a bunch of records. And, you know, 604 deals are all profit splits. So either everybody makes money or nobody makes money. And the fact that we've all have done well is great. And it's nothing bad about that at all. Yeah. But, you know, like, look, they ended up doing a big deal with a major, I think a 360 deal. I'm not sure about that. And I'm assuming they got a massive check for it. You know what? They got kids and I don't know, what am I going to get pissed off about that? Like,
yeah, no, you can't.
I'm thankful that I have the catalog that I have. So thankful. And they're doing the podcast.
They are.
So it's going to be the first time I have talked to them since that phone call.
No kidding.
And again, there's no bad feelings. It's just that, like, they have a project manager here named Julie, first employee I ever hired, still here 22 years later. She's their point person. And we still do a lot with them. We did a box set last year did gangbuster, like the big business. So we're doing the 20th anniversary of Gasoline this year.
No 20 years.
And I pitched it to Julie. I said, you know, I wonder if they'd be interested in doing the podcast, because we do these a lot when we do these. Like, we just put out a re-release of the Armchair Cynics.
Yeah, I saw that.
And we had a podcast.
And a new song.
A new old song, because it was actually recorded 20 years ago.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I added to BCIT's campus radio station.
It's a great song.
Because I also programmed that radio station.
Oh, thank you. It's a great song.
So good.
That album's just so good. But, you know, we're doing this anniversary release. And I said to Julie, their project manager, like, I think they'd be interested in doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the whole band, but definitely Tyler's doing it.
That's great.
And I think we're going to do it when he's back at Christmas.
Okay.
Because I love those guys. Like there was, like I said, no bad feelings. I think I was hurt that they left.
Sure.
And that was hard.
I think people can understand that, right? Like, you want to believe that it's going to be
the first band we ever signed.
Sure. And they did well, and they had great radio play, and they're good guys like Nickelback, right? They're super, super nice guys. So you want to believe that it's going to continue, right? Like, I think people can empathize and understand why you would be hurt for sure.
Yes. And but then it's just like, you know, and then they're busy and they go their way, and I don't see them or talk to them because I have no reason to at this point. You know, I mean, we're friends, but I was also, and still am, careful not to get too close to the people we work with, because I've learned the lesson that can be look, am I close to Nickelback? Yeah, but I've been with them for 30 years. So now we are kind of family. And I hate the word family in the context of the entertainment business because it's so overused. Hey, we're family. You, we're not family. But 30 years is like,
but you are.
We're family.
Yeah.
I never quite got to that point with Theory. Like, we were never, and Tyler moved to LA pretty early.
That's right, he did. Yeah.
And so I just didn't, they all moved except Dean. So I never even saw any of them. So there wasn't that sort of foundation where I'd see them all the time. And, you know, I'm excited. I'm really excited. And I told Julie, I don't want to talk to Tyler before the podcast. I want everything to be fresh.
Sure.
Which I don't, you know, I just did put out a podcast with Andrew Hyatt, the country artist who's on our label. And we had been beefing. We had been having a pretty, and he agreed to do the podcast. And he said, should we talk ahead of time? I said, no. And we hashed it out on the podcast, which I know is,
right.
It's kind of crazy, but, you know, I like to keep this real.
But that's great listening.
Yes,
that's great listening.
It's great listening.
Like Theory of a Deadman, I went down to LA with a buddy named Brad, and we stayed with Dean and Dave while they were recording the Scars and Souvenirs.
Oh, yes.
And just, you know, we're you know, Mike Plotnikoff?
Yes, of course.
Producer, of course, you know Mike, right? So we're hanging, and Mike's like, guys, literally fucking, I'm going to be doing this same shit. So, you know, for the next 13 hours. Yeah. And we're like, no, Roger, copy that, right? So we're like, well, let's go to Vegas, man.
Yeah.
So we just went and rented a car and Dave and Tyler traded off driving to Vegas. We went to Vegas, and just by chance, my wife is in Vegas with Obaki, which is it was a clothing design company here in Vancouver back in the day with Ryan Peake's wife Trina. She had this company that was like, they'd make like clothing and stuff for like series and like Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I remember they had that cool office on 7th.
That's right.
And that's where I used to see your wife.
That's right.
Yep.
So Jess is there by chance, just at some symposium or whatever it's called, where, you know, she's buying fabrics and whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I get to hang out with my wife. We meet Mr. T, had dinner.
You could die at that point.
Yeah, like it was.
I've done it all.
It was just one of those like, this happening. We're walking through a casino. Little man attacks Dean. Oh, what the hell is going on? Like, Vegas is the craziest city in the world.
It's a crazy city.
That's the first time that they've had a gold record was that. And I was like, maybe I should come to the next recording session. You know, maybe I'm a good luck charm, guys. But love Theory, man. Great guys.
And I remember that. I was down there for a bit of that record because that was Howard Benson, if I remember correctly. And I remember that studio they were in LA. And I mean, it was interesting because, like, the thing about Theory also is that there was a bit of tension, I think, between them and Nickelback, and not in any direct fashion. I think, and I understood this, I think they got a little tired. Understandably, they got a little tired of the Theory of a Nickelback jokes.
Yeah.
And I think people were really, like, when the Nickelback backlash happened, they sort of it kind of splashed up on them.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't think they weren't mad at anybody, because let's face it, Chad was also responsible for their career starting. But it was a tough spot to be in, because I think, I remember they'd go to interviews and Nickelback, and like everybody wanted to,
Dude, it's so annoying.
So annoying.
It's just straight jealousy, man. That's all that is. Like, back to the whole, like, as a kid and water off a duck's back, like, that's the stuff that those guys have to have. And it's hard to sometimes, especially when it's your creative art.
Well, they forged their own path through that and have had a really nice career. And I mean, we were talking earlier about how the business has changed. Here's one amazing way the business has changed. Theory's been off of our label for 2 albums. I think 2 albums. History of Violence, I think, was the first one that wasn't on 604. Now, back in the old days, when you actually had physical records, you'd buy a record, you'd buy vinyl or a CD. And, if, I always talk about this. It was, I'm so old. I went to Fleetwood Mac Rumors tour.
Nice.
Now, I was in grade 7 or 8 or something. I was young, but,
but holy.
Well, I had fallen in love with them on the record before, which had Rhiannon on it, the self-titled Fleetwood Mac record. So, they put out Rumors. I go to my dad. You got to give me money for that. I beg you. They bought Rumors for me, and I still have the vinyl that I bought at the time. And then they announced the tour. I didn't go back and buy the record I already owned. Why would I? I already owned it. Fast forward to 2025. When I make more money on Theory of a Deadman now than when they were on the label, because I'm not spending money. And now when they announce a tour, people don't rush out. People don't not buy the old record. They stream the whole catalog. When Theory or Dallas tour, I'm walking into Tyler, my accountant's office, high-fiving. And it's good news for the bands too, because they're going to make a bunch of money too.
But yeah, everyone.
But streaming has changed that dynamic so severely. Like, it doesn't matter that they're not making records with us anymore, because the fans don't give a shit. They go on tour. They're streaming everything they heard that night.
Wow. That's amazing.
It's wild.
Yeah. That's
wild. Yeah. So, and Theory, it took them forever to recoup, but they, it took literally 15 years, because it's all tied into the Warner system, and, and you never recoup on major labels in the States. But now it's really a hell of a revenue stream. So if you guys are listening, please keep touring.
Yeah, exactly.
Please. My kids, they're not cheap to have kids these days. You gotta keep touring. If not for yourself, then for Simkin.
That's funny.
Do you and Dave still do any business stuff?
No, it's been, I think we dissolved the company, or just basically said, let's just, because I think what was happening is I was just so busy with the podcast and everything and BCIT, and that I was like, well, we're not doing anything. And it wasn't like a lot of money to keep it going. It was like whatever it is.
It was like management, right? Like
500 or whatever a year through whatever it was basically that you guys were charging us. It wasn't very much money, but I was like, well, what's the point? If we're not going to have bands on, like, let's just kill it and we'll start it up again.
The band management thing's tough, man. It's
hard.
It is the weirdest goddamn job. We don't do as much of it as we used to. There was a period of time when nobody was buying records, like right when the Napster thing happened, where we kind of had no choice. Like, because otherwise, I remember sitting down with Chad one day and kind of being like, dude, we got a problem. He's like, what? And I said, well, we just started a record company and nobody buys records.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Like, well, what do you want to do? Like, should we do those 360 deals? I'm like, no, I don't want our bands to hate our guts. Like, no, I'm not interested in that. That's when I decided to start the management company so that we could participate in that revenue and not bankrupt. And it worked. But now that the master business is healthy again, we're not really signing as many bands to management. I don't hate it. And I got lots of young people here who are, but dude, I'm 60. You know what? I don't need to wake up in the morning and have people yelling at me because, the sandwiches were too small in the tray or whatever. And not all artists are like that, but enough are that it's just like, ugh, life's too short. I mean, the joke I always make is artist management would be great if it wasn't for the artists, but
totally right.
That's a joke, artist. Okay, please don't cancel me again, please. I mean, it's and the bands that I do still do it for, it's like Mariana's who are like family, truly. Because again, Josh is, I mean, Jesus, over 20 years that relationship,
right?
And
Josh is, he once did a show maybe 3-4 years ago, maybe more than that, in Surrey, I think, and he shouted out me and Danger. And basically said, like, cheers to Todd and Danger at CFOX for being the first people to play our music on radio.
Yeah, and it's funny.
We were like, what? Because that was like a Z95 thing, and it was that's like, ooh, you shouldn't have said that. Like, it's cool that it came back to me that it was said, but I was like, oh man, that's dicey. Like, don't do that. Radio stations.
We went to rock radio first with that band, and that's partly because that first record is pretty rock.
Sure.
But also, we just assumed they were a rock band. We just went forward on that basis. And, a lot of the rock stations, not you guys, but a lot of the rock stations are like, that's a pop band. Like, what are you sending that to us for?
Yeah.
But then when we tried to switch gears and go pop, they were like, that's a rock band. And Josh made a very conscious decision. Like, I need to sort of decide what, to some degree, at least for the singles.
Sure.
What are we?
Right.
And he decided we're a pop band. And Cross My Heart was because like people always think that first record was a big success. It is now, but it wasn't then. We didn't get any radio play. We got a little bit of CFOX spin. We got a little bit of this and that. The videos slayed. We won a Much Music, or we got nominated for Juno for the video for Shake Tramp.
Oh, wow.
But they never really had radio on the first record. It wasn't until Cross My Heart.
Right.
And that went kaboom. So we had built this great fan base. And when that song went number one or went whatever it went to in radio, the fan base rose up. And I remember a lot of people were like, where the did they come from? We knew because we had been carefully cultivating that fan base online. Mariana's were very early adopters and understood the power of MySpace of all things. Oh, yeah. They were working it on, they'd be working it all night. Like they'd be like taking turns working the MySpace thing.
Sure.
So
yeah, if you engage with the people that engage with you, like that's the one of the biggest things I learned from working at CFOX was from Larry and Willie. Morning show at Fox for a long time. When I first got there, huge morning show, right? But the one main thing that they told me was like the people that reach out, like not necessarily in social media per se, but like if people are phoning the radio station, answer the phone, bro.
Yeah.
And be cordial, be nice to them, unless they're a complete to you.
Of course.
But like otherwise, everybody that is reaching out to you, make sure you hit them back. Thank you for calling. Appreciate you listening, right? And that can apply to social media, right? Like if people are interacting with your but you're not saying anything to them, man, what's the point? You're dying.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I was saying earlier about like, why don't people return emails in the music business? Like, it's funny. I'll get people who say to me, like, I don't know if you remember me, but like, 15 years ago, I sent you a demo and you were really nice and you gave me some pointers. Like to me, it was one of a million bands and I don't remember every band I interact with in one email. But, that always feels good. And you kind of, good,
Yeah.
I always felt like
It's
there was
working.
a reason that it did matter that I was doing that.
It does matter.
And it does matter. Like you
Yeah.
sort of learned that lesson. I mean, you've got your own podcast.
I
Where
don't
can
know.
people hear it? How often are you doing new shows?
Yeah, I mean, I try to do them. I don't do them every week, but I certainly put out. Let's say, there's 52 weeks in a year. I probably put out 35 to 40 ish. Right, so I'll take a week off here and there because just whatever. But no, nothing really like to promote in terms of anything specific. Just come check me out. Like, if you remember me from CFOX, it's basically, it's a radio show that interacts with sports and music people and actors and everything. It's kind of all over the map in that regard.
What have you done lately on the sports side on it? Just out of curiosity.
In the sports side, I talked to the president of both sports teams in town, the Whitecaps and the Lions. Presidents of both of those clubs. Oddly, the people that I usually that I work with for their social media and their marketing stuff, it was Matt Baker with the Lions. Initially, he was like, "Hey, you want to talk to the president, Dwayne Vinot?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, that's amazing." Like,
yeah.
No diss to any of the players. Of course, I would love to have players on. I always have BC Lions on. And then when I reached out to the Whitecaps, they were like, "Do you want to talk to Axel, the president?" I was like, "What is going on, man?" Like, yeah, because these are unique views and of sports that we love, right? Because it's not a player, they're going to, but yet they are really directly involved with everything that we see and love about those teams.
Yes.
Like whether it's the promotion or they got Snoop Dogg or whatever, like guaranteed Buddy had a hand in that.
Yes.
Right. So it was that for me. I was like, interesting to get that perspective. So those are two interesting sports in the last little while.
Dallas and I had a podcast during the pandemic.
I do remember that
Sticks
actually.
and
Yeah.
Stones.
Yeah. I
As
remember
in
that.
hockey sticks, Rolling Stones. It was like music
Nice.
and hockey. And we got, it was like a dream come true. We had Brendan Batchelor
Okay.
on.
Batch. Yeah.
I made him say before he left, Simkin shoots, he scores. I just wanted to hear it out of his mouth. We had Harold
That's
Snaps.
Okay.
We had Kirk McLean.
Kirk's the best, eh?
Oh, that was a hell of that was fun. Harold Snaps didn't like me. I don't think he looked at me like, made some crack about, "You're a lawyer with a hair like that." I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah. And I brought up that first goal, the overtime goal that Bossy scored against us
Oh, okay.
in that first Stanley Cup final we were ever in.
Sure.
And I wasn't trying to be an about it at all. And I even prefaced it by kind of saying, I said, "Hey man, like, listen, I've been subject to some public humiliations." I said, "I sued Sarah McLachlan and lost." I said, "And the whole world saw it." I said, "So I'm just laying that out there because I want to ask you about that." I don't think he liked me asking about it. I think he just didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But who else did we have? We had we had a whole bunch of we had Thomas Drance,
Oh, okay.
which was interesting. He was
Sure.
we had a couple of players, Cole Lind, the player, and we had a player from Ottawa. I can't remember his name. Sorry, I can't remember your name. So I loved that. Like this podcast is really just about people I know, and I'm not really friends with that many people in the sports world.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the trickiest one for me to get notable sports figures.
Yeah.
Like music and stuff. I know so many people.
People want to promote themselves, but it doesn't.
Truly doesn't. It's not taxing at
No,
all.
why would Quinn Hughes want to come and talk on a
Right.
podcast?
But
Like,
to get-
what does that do for him?
Sure. Like to get Quinn Hughes or, like I've had a few really interesting NHL players. Like I had Vincent Trocheck on last
That's
year.
interesting.
And he's, a huge player. And I had Sean Avery on and,
I'd
I've
love
had
to get him on.
I had Corey Hirsch was a really good interview.
Yeah.
Talking about his mental health and all that
So,
stuff.
Yeah.
That side of his world. He really kind of,
I know who I
broke
bet I
into
could
that.
get on just because I'm friendly with him is Noodles.
oh,
I'd love to get him on.
you should get him on. Get Chad on.
He is on a real, I don't want to say it. He'll get mad at me for no matter what I say at this point. Let's just say he's not into any sort of press these days.
Yeah, I asked him a couple of months ago to jump on again. He's like, "I'm not doing interviews anymore." I'm like,
Okay, so you said it, I can say it. Yeah.
And I'm like, even for me? He's like, "Sorry, buddy."
He co-owns his podcast network and he won't do it. It's fine.
But I get it.
Mike Kroeger
Like-
was my first guest.
Was he? Yeah.
And I will work on Peak. Peak's a little shy of that stuff too. I don't think
Yeah.
that's his idea of a good time. So,
Yeah.
and I respect that. I have to respect that. But
Yeah. I mean, I will say I did act like a little bit of a with Chad. I wrote him back. I'm like, "That sucks, bro." and just left it at that. He didn't write me back, but it was like, am I entitled? Yeah. Yeah. I've known him since 95, 96. I did a world album premiere with that guy. I did my radio show from his shows in, in various places in the country. But does that mean that I can just always have an interview with him? No. The answer is no.
You know what? If he was doing other podcasts and other interviews, but wasn't doing yours,
sure,
that would be one thing. He's not doing them for anybody. Not for me, not for you.
Right.
And so I respect it. It's like, same. What? What can I say?
I got chirped off by a few Nickelback fans, and I was like, yeah, fair enough. And I took the post down, and I'm sure
for what? Oh, you posted something?
I posted just saying like, Chad's not doing interviews anymore. Stop asking me.
Oh,
right? Because when I post the one that I did with him, which is a great interview, we talked for an hour and stayed over at his place and got super drunk and played pool and jammed and like, Chad to me is a buddy, right? So for me to be like, no, you're not, I'm not doing it. I was like, just stop asking me then, right? So because if I don't, people, the fans will continually like, Chad love this, but get another one.
Chad did do Sticks and Stones with Dallas and I.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. But whatever.
But that's why. So I posted something saying like, please stop asking. Chad's not doing interviews anymore, right? And then of course, you shouldn't, chirp off Chad like that. That's not cool. Fuck. It wasn't even meant in that way. Just like literally is like, please stop asking me because it's not happening. Right?
It's pretty wild. Like anytime I do even, one of the things I do on my podcast is Alex, my co-producer, whatever you want to call him here, Alex, we'll find some plaques around the office, and I'll talk about them, and that's it. We don't have a guest. I'll just go, okay, Len, Steal My Sunshine. Let me talk. I'll just riff about that.
That's so good, man. And, I literally walked into Jonathan's room today, his office, and I was like, what the bro? Like, this is the coolest office ever. That wall is like, as soon as you walk in, you're like, okay, eye candy everywhere. Cannot come. I'm just buffering everywhere.
Yeah, it's
like
a bit much.
It's so insane. Yeah.
So I, anytime I talk about Nickelback, the views just boom.
Yeah.
Even if it's just me talking about them, it doesn't even have to be them on the show. It's just me.
Tell a story.
I mean, this band that walked into my office out of the blue one day and I think they were still called Village Idiot maybe at that point. Like they weren't, maybe they had just changed the name, but I mean, little did I know, well, I guess maybe part of me did know, or it wasn't that I knew they were going to be huge, but I remember at that first meeting, they gave me a burned CD with demos that ended up being some of the stuff on the state and,
or Hesher
or maybe Hesher or Curb. It was something like that. And I can't remember now. And I remember I walked into Jennifer, my wife's office, who's also a lawyer, and we worked together, holding the CD. I said, God damn, I hope I like it because there's something about that guy. Like Chad was he's one of those people who walks into a room and you just, you're drawn to him. The energy around him is just insane.
Sure.
And I haven't met that many people. Josh Ramsay's got that. But Josh is a little less, he's a little more tentative about attention, whereas Chad just loves it. Chad's like, bring it on, like we'd be, especially on that first album, like when How You Remind Me happened, like I remember walking around downtown.
Right.
And it's like, Chad, can I have a hug? Come on. Chad, can I have a picture? Hey, he's just very, and there's been times I've been like, dude, I really think you should, be careful of that stuff. He's like,
nah,
this is how we make our money. This is how we make our living. This is part of my job. That's it.
Yeah.
End of discussion.
Yeah.
And I respect that. Like
I have one of the coolest memories of Chad and Dallas in a limo downtown Vancouver.
I like it already.
How You Remind Me comes on. Chad starts singing to it, right? Half the song, maybe, whatever, or drunk, right? Hitting brandies, hitting all the strip clubs.
Yeah.
Right? And it was right at the time when it was How You Remind Me and Wasting My Time.
We're both massive.
We're massive on radio. Well, we're driving around long enough that it now gets to default. And Chad's now like, come on, Dallas, now you get up and sing, right? So I had both of the singers from Nickelback and Default
singing their own songs.
Right, just drunk ass in limousines in downtown Vancouver.
That's pretty good.
It was the best, man.
I remember I drove to LA in 2001 with Lilacs. Remember Lilacs?
Yeah.
Band from Cranbrook.
Yeah.
The first band I really managed.
If you had asked me, I would have been able to get that for trivia.
Oh, well, there you go.
The Cranbrook, I would have got that.
Yeah. And they were signed to Madonna's label, to Maverick. And I drove down and, that's when How You Remind Me was
Getting played every 15 seconds.
holy. Like
Is
I remember
everywhere,
calling Chad or Peak or Mike, whoever I could get. They're playing it. I'm in, Eugene, Oregon. They're playing it. It was just like the shock of like,
Right.
anywhere I went, anywhere, it was like, but and I've been lucky with that shit. I mean, when when Call Me Maybe was like the biggest song in the world, we have a Subway close to here, Subway sandwich restaurant. I rarely eat there. It's not something
I was going to say this portion of the podcast is brought to you by
Subway. Yeah.
I rarely eat there, but
I do rarely eat there, but I went today and I'll be damned to walk in and Call Me Maybe, just kind of blasting on the, it's a hell of a thing sometimes to work in this business,
Right.
especially when you have like success like that, because it's so goddamn public. It's so everywhere, which is also why when things don't go well, this could be a brutal business because you can't hide success or failure in this business.
No.
You can try, but it's kind of hard to.
Yeah.
If something doesn't work, it's not like it's a secret. Everybody knows it didn't work. It went to radio and it flopped.
Next.
But when it works, and that year, Call Me Maybe, we were traveling the world. And or Nickelback. I remember being in New York with Nickelback in 2001. And it was the same trip where Chad and I negotiated our deal for 604 with Leor Cohen and Case Wessels. And part of what they were doing there was they did TRL on MTV, which was, the big the Total Request Line or whatever, a massive show. And they're like, yeah, just come meet us there and then we'll, go do whatever else we were doing. So I get to MTV, I give my name. Oh yeah, you're on the list, go on up. I walk up. Yeah, they're in the dressing room. I walk in the dressing room. And who's the first person I see? Tom Cruise. I was walking. There's Tom Cruise.
What?
Like,
Oh, hey, man.
and I made some joke, which of course didn't go over very well. What was a stupid joke I made to Tom
Did it go
Cruise?
over his head? Hey, yo,
Yeah,
hey.
that's pretty good. Well, I will tell you, he was wearing mega platform
Was
shoes.
he? Yeah.
So, oh God, yeah, it was weird.
He was wearing Gene Simmons boots. It's like, that's weird boots, but all right.
or as I like to call it, Frankenfoot. Like giant, sort of like Frankenstein. But he. So I said, I thought you were Ryan because sometimes people say you're his doppelganger.
Oh,
And he just looked at me like, who are you? What the are you talking about? Get the away from me.
Yeah.
It was like not, it wasn't well received.
no funny bone.
No, well, at least not with me. And I don't blame him.
Yeah,
He doesn't know who I
Don't know
am.
who you are. Yeah.
I come in and throw some idiotic joke that wouldn't even make sense to him.
Sure.
I have a bad habit of doing stuff like that.
Oh, well.
I remember like when,
Swing for the fences, man.
well, like Chad introduced me to Francesco Aquilini.
Okay.
It was at a game. He said, hey, you should come up. I'm in the owner's suite. So I said, hey, Francesco, this is my longtime lawyer, Jonathan. And I shook his hand and I said, and a longtime season ticket holder. You're welcome.
Nice.
And he just looked at me, looked right through me like, yeah, dude.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I couldn't resist.
That's great.
I couldn't resist.
Let me ask you this on that. What's the take on 604 and continuing to do LPs as opposed to EPs? Is there a single focus or you guys still want to do the records?
It's funny because my answer to that question has changed over the last decade. Because if you had asked me this 10 years ago, what I would have said was, I'm an album guy. I still love albums. I understand that the world's changing and that's not necessarily what the average fan gives a about, but I still give a
it.
The truth is, I don't give a about albums anymore. I can't lie about it. Now, does that mean there aren't albums that I, absolutely love? Of course there are. Albums that meant something to me. Automatic for the People by REM. Who's Next by The Who. Arthur by The Kinks. Albums that I would listen to start to finish. Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Albums that I could listen to from the beginning, for the first song to the last song. But the truth is, I just don't do that much anymore. I'll go to a playlist instead on my Spotify.
Is that right? I still do it. I'll go and I'll binge a record for 10 times in a row so that I know it, sing all the lyrics.
On vinyl or on the streaming?
Just spinning it on streaming. Yeah.
So, I just, for whatever reason, my brain has, maybe because of what I do for a living, I'm just so not used to it. But the more important factor isn't me or you, it's the general public. And the general public has spoken. We don't give a about albums. I'd be an idiot to fight that. I'd be an idiot. So do we still make albums? Yes. We still make entire albums, but the way we release them, it's almost like the album release is the thing that matters the least now. Because you put out a single. Oh, did it do well? No. Okay. What are we going to do for the next one? And then, you try this, you try that. But even if it works, like there's still bands like Nickelback, like Marianas Trench, like Carly Rae Jepsen, who people want to hear an album start to finish. Sure. It matters to them.
Yeah.
It's the fan base.
A true fan is going to want to hear a full record.
100%. But the average fan doesn't give a And so I'd be an idiot to, you got to give the people what they want when you're in the business. Yeah. So to answer the question, yeah, we still make an album's worth of material, but I don't even look at it as an album anymore. Like even our contracts have changed. It doesn't say anymore, you will deliver an album. It says you will deliver between X number and X number of masters, which we will mutually decide how to release.
Okay.
Maybe it'll be an album. Maybe it'll be an EP. Maybe it'll be a series of singles followed by an album.
Right.
We'll figure it out as we go along.
Right.
Todd, this has been a ton of fun.
Jonathan, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And if you want me to reciprocate on your show, it'll be the 10th anniversary since I was on it.
I know, it's truly.
Yeah, so yeah. I'll have to. We'd be talking about the same we're talking about now, so I don't know where we go with that.
Probably, but so it's toddhancock.ca. Todd Hancock.
There you go, toddhancock.ca. Great podcast, and he's like a pioneer of this. So you got to go listen to that stuff.
Do it.
Everybody, thanks for listening. Really appreciate it.
I hate Simkin. You hate Simkin. She hates Simkin. We hate Simkin. Who hates Simkin? I hate Simkin. They hate Simkin.